majority of those guys back. So, it's just continue to build and continue to take steps in the right direction of getting better every single day. And, I'm fortunate to be around guys that really love the game and really love to work and get better. So it's been really good so far.
What's the biggest thing you've worked on this offseason? Physically getting stronger, maybe a coordination with your wideouts, knowing sort of the intricacies of the offense, all of the above, or is there one thing in particular?
Yeah, physically, I've lost some weight. I've lost a little bit of bad weight, put on a little more good weight. So I feel much better.
Man, don't tell me Rebo told you to do that.
No, not Coach Rebo. It's just something I wanted to do, kind of try and be a little more mobile, hurt people a little more with my legs when I need to. And the other thing, just bottom line was I turned the ball over too many times last year. So just really taking a deep dive into the offense and knowing exactly where to go with the football. The majority of my interceptions, my turnovers were mental mistakes and not physical. So physically, I've proved to myself that I can do it. Just mentally, I know that getting to the right spot and knowing where the football needs to go, no matter the coverage, no matter who we're playing, no matter the situation.
I thought one of the things you did really well last year is be a facilitator. It wasn't trying to make the big play all the time, but you knew who to get the ball to, and you had a pretty good running game around you too.
Absolutely.
Those guys, you had a good power attack.
Yeah, I mean those two guys, Jalen and Colin, are they're great. Everybody knows. But you got to give it to the guys up front. I mean, those guys are the reason behind. Jalen and Colin are phenomenal players, but everybody knows they wouldn't do what they do without those guys. And, our offensive line coach, Coach PJ, who's back, who's a player here, an All-American here.
Sure enough.
We got him back, and he's done a phenomenal job with those guys. Just developing that identity that we're going to run the football, and it doesn't matter how many people you put in the box, and we're still going to run the football because that's what we do here. So,
was there a couple guys in the spring, say from a year ago, that really made tremendous improvement? You say, wow, he looks a lot different than he did a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, we have some receivers. The receiver room as a whole really has done a great job stepping up and just kind of taking ownership of, last year our best receiver was David Robinson, who was a great player here at Nicholls.
He's a Central Foods guy. That's where I went to high school. So I know he's pretty good.
Trojans, right?
Yeah, Trojans, baby.
So, I mean, David was phenomenal. He made a ton of big plays, and then David graduated. And those guys have done a great job, really, of just saying, David's not here anymore, so we're going to, as a group, collectively, take the reins and work to get better. The other part is our defense is phenomenal. I'm lucky to get to play against them every day. They make me better. They're really good. Coach Ryback and the rest of the defensive staff does a phenomenal job. All those guys are back. All those guys from a year ago are all coming back. So,
what's your goal this year for Nicholls State?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to win the conference again, and then the goal is to win in the playoffs. We've been there. Coach Rebo's been there since his time here. He's had a phenomenal career here and other places, but we got to win in the playoffs. That's kind of the next hump that we need to get over. So last year, I mean, we went to Southern Illinois, and to be honest with you, we got smoked. I mean, it's nothing. Can't sugarcoat that one, 35-0. So, I mean, that's kind of been the focus of, if we take care of what we need to do every single day, it's all going to fall into place, and we'll continue to play well and win games.
Chase Forcade, sort of legendary down here. Is he giving you any advice about how to handle some of the pressures? Because you guys have a winning tradition here now.
Yeah, absolutely. Chase is a phenomenal guy. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. He's around all the time. We text back and forth all the time. Just really the biggest thing is taking it one day at a time. You can't sit here in June and talk about, well, yeah, we want to win the first round of the playoffs. Well, I mean, there's a million steps between then and now. So I think we've done a good job so far of just being like, you know what, we're going to take June 27th, 28th, whatever day it is, and one day at a time. We're going to focus on this day. We're going to give everything we have into what's going on today, and we'll worry about tomorrow when we get there. So that's really been good. I think that's the kind of thing Chase has kind of instilled in me, is that it's one day at a time. You can't. Our motto last year was, how do you eat an elephant? You eat the elephant one bite at a time, and that's kind of how we took each week and each day. And it worked out for us. So that's kind of the same thing, just taking it one day at a time.
Best of luck to you this year, brother. You did a great job last year. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You mentioned that receiver group trying to fill some big shoes.
Yeah.
You had a lot of guys that, I think we had 5 guys between like 250, 500 yards.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen in terms of strides from the returning guys that's caught your attention?
Yeah, I mean, we have guys that have played. Last year we had a lot of young guys that hadn't played. Well, now, we were fortunate to be able to play a good amount of guys last year, and majority of them are all back, except for the guys that graduated. But just as a whole, they've kind of taken ownership on the fact that as a whole offense in the passing game, I mean, we were run heavy last year, and they kind of got fed up with always having to run the ball. So they've done a really good job. It's hard to keep them out of this facility and in the stadium trying to throw. And I mean, it's every day. Guys are in here catching jugs and running routes and getting better. And guys are just growing up. You know, they're a year older. They're physically a year older, mentally a year older. So they've done a really good job. I'm really happy with where they're at right now. But obviously, I mean, there's a ton more work to go. So.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you coming down here? You talked some about your football development, but you're a guy coming from up north to being about as Louisiana as you can be down in Thibodeau.
Well, first of all, the heat. I'm used to the heat now, but at the beginning, the heat was rough. And then the second biggest thing is I come from a really big family. I have 5 siblings, a brother-in-law and a nephew. So my dad coached me in high school. So, you know, we kind of grew up, football was our family. You know, that's kind of all we did. And then I went from having my entire family in the bleachers every single game to now, you know, I'm very fortunate that my parents do a phenomenal job of coming to games. And but obviously, I mean, it's a long way away, so they don't get to every game. So that's been the biggest difference. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one, is just not having my family here. But my little brother just enrolled as a freshman. He's playing slot receiver for us. So it's been really good to kind of have him, and it makes it easier for my mom and dad to get to see both of us. So.
In terms of life in Thibodeau and whatnot, what has been your biggest advice to him of adjusting to campus, town, Louisiana?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just continuing to build relationships with people. I mean, saying hello to the custodians in the morning is just important as saying hello to Coach Rebo, because, you know, I mean, just treating everybody the same exact way, no matter you know who they are and what their title is. I think the people here are phenomenal. The people who support Nicholls are phenomenal. You know, like this facility we're in, I mean, this was given to us by people who want to see us succeed. So I think just the advice that I've given them is that people will go out of their way to help you here. You just have to deserve it. So, I mean, just continuing to build relationships and being respectful of people is huge.